Running a home service business is hard. So how is it that some people make it look so easy? Well, we'll tell you. This is the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. It's always good to hear the wins that successful contractors have. But have you ever thought that the best advice would be to hear about the speed bumps they encountered, the mistakes they've made along the way? We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. We want you to be successful and avoid the mistakes others have made. Let's get this party started. Welcome to the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. Now your host, Justin Deese.
Welcome back to another episode of Freedom Blueprint Podcast. And I'm excited today to be talking with Nicole Forbes from Forbes HVAC and Refrigeration out of, well, at the time of recording, we're the end of June. So hot Scottsdale, Arizona. So Nicole, welcome to the show.
It's such an honor to be on it and to be speaking with a fellow husband and wife partner company.
I know we need like our own band.
I don't know if you want me to sing, but I'll get up there. My husband can dance.
Oh, can he?
Oh yeah, he's a dancer.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about the business where it stands today. What does the business look like today?
The business today has evolved very quickly for us. We are truly 3 years into being a new company. And what I really love about what you guys do is, as you said, it's not so much learning, it's about failing and learning from your mistakes. And that's something I do all the time. If you're not learning, then there's a problem. Big background is really, we've had 8 years as our branded name, but this was really my husband's gig for the last 30. About 3 years ago, though, I stepped away from my more corporate position and we dove in. I resigned in June of 2022 and we bought our building in August of 2022 and it's been nonstop since. So a lot of fun, a lot of learning, a lot of growing together. And that's a little bit about where we are today.
So, how did your husband rope you into getting involved in the business?
We're a good balance with one another. So as they say, opposites attract, yin and yang, all of that good stuff. I will say that he has had that technical skill and is third generation in this trade, both air conditioning and refrigeration. I am more customer experience, communications, building a brand, building a relationship with our customer base. And he started his own business after departing from his family's company. His mom and dad retired and decided he wanted to continue on with his own company and rebranded, reestablished who he was and the direction he wanted to go. That was 8 years ago. 3 years ago, I came in and we just kind of did another rebrand, but really building off of what he himself had built and just really looking forward to continuing to grow. We've seen a lot of change. We truly were a startup. Our first step was figuring out who our software company was going to be. And I remember it was a good 5 months before I resigned that I said, okay, I can't get on board until I know we have the right software. And he did some digging and calling and leaned on some trusted partners. And we ended up going to Pantheon in 2021. I apologize. And it was quite an experience. So well done, well run, well loved, and hated. It's a love-hate relationship with ServiceTitan. Anyone who uses it knows that. But I have immense respect for what it does and the immense grandness of what ServiceTitan is. So we dove in deep. We signed up with ServiceTitan when we only had one technician, when they didn't even want to talk to us. And they took a leap of faith with us, and it's been phenomenal ever since. But it's a big learning curve, both for my husband working with the software for the first time. Beforehand, it was paper and handshakes. And myself being in a whole new language of the trades. It's been a learning curve, but I really love that ServiceTitan took us on. I couldn't be here without it. We have some amazing young men and a lady that works for us. and have really enjoyed diving into the mentorship that goes along with how to really best educate, train, and fully evolve their technical skills, because they have been a bit greener. They have really grown into being phenomenal technicians, excellent teammates, and really helped molded the relationship that they are building with our customer base.
So I've been on ServiceTitan for probably a dozen years now, and I will say this: you'll never know it all. Anytime I talk to somebody who's newer on ServiceTitan, that's usually the first thing I tell them is, like, if your objective is to know everything about the software and be done, that will never happen with that software, because partly because it's constantly evolving and growing. And I can tell you from personal experience, we've been able to run multiple businesses, and a lot of that's has been through ServiceTitan and how we can run the reports and see what's going on. So you guys definitely made the right decision in a software for growth.
Yeah. No, I full-heartedly see that already, and you're right. Every time you start getting used to it, it changes. It's like having kids. You get
Oh, this
comfortable
pro
with the
account thing's
routine.
coming out. Got to learn it.
Oh, no doubt. Blue collar nerd. I'm a fan. He breaks that down for us very, very well. So no,
So, little shout out to Koberger, the blue collar nerd. He just, at the time of recording, he just came out with a new, I don't really know what you'd call. I'm going to call it a membership of, and it's a database that he's created. We got into it. It's amazing. So if
Okay.
anybody's listening is on ServiceTitan, it is definitely worth the investment to use that. It's a really nice searchable tool for sure.
That's awesome. No,
Little plug for Richard there.
he deserves it.
Yeah, he's
Works
pretty
hard.
good. So, all right. So husband and wife team,
Mhm.
you guys, you're taking care of the inside the building. He's taking care of technicians, sales, that kind of stuff. What's, as you guys have been growing, obviously software is that's a big one. But now that you're 3 years into it, is there anything you can think of where you go, man, I wish I would have made this change earlier than you have?
I think it's hard to look back and not say I should have, but it's also, it wouldn't be putting us where we are today. I think we made a lot of the right moves. There were certain things that I wish we would have done sooner. ServiceTitan was our first move, fantastic. Our next move was getting into a fantastic coaching program with BDR.
Yep.
So they've been a huge help, and we've been with them about 2.5 years now. Lastly was our jump into using Rival Digital as our marketing partner and website. And I can say they are just a phenomenal young team. And I don't mean young in the business, but those team members, they're probably ages of my kids, but they're just excellent. So this is a shameless plug for both ServiceTitan, BDR, and Rival. But really, I wouldn't be here without them. I can't speak highly enough about all three.
It's amazing. There's times where I'll get messages from people even now, because we talk a lot about best practice groups, and I think, you know, kind of one of the things you've got to do in your business at the very beginning is find a best practice group that fits, you know, your style, your need, what you're wanting. And there's just so many people out there that don't even know that those exist. And I can tell you firsthand, I was in business 10 or 15 years before I had any idea that a best practice group was even a thing. I didn't even know. And until I started like really looking and finding out, you end up with this amazing group of people that you can ask questions to, and, you know, typically text them, hey, I got this giant thing going on. How do I fix it? And they're usually pretty open and willing to help you and share.
I've been very lucky to experience only that. I've listened to my husband tell the story about how he was kind of like the kid that held the flashlight. He was that young man at 7 years old up in attics with his dad, and he would tell me all growing up, he would go to the supply houses, and it was highly discouraged. You don't talk to the guy next to you. You don't make eye contact with that guy. He's the enemy. He's the competition. And so from hearing his stories to what I experience today, going to the trade shows, going down to the supply houses myself, everybody's there to help one another. It's a phenomenal thing. The social media accounts that are out there where you join one and you're talking to thousands of people who can give you insights, phenomenal insights, honest, trustful, useful insights, even down to companies down the street that, we are direct competitors, but ultimately we lean on each other for best practices too. So I think it's an excellent evolution of the trades. I think it's a respected evolution, and God help me, it's become a really utilized source for us.
Well, and you think about in your husband, you said he's been in this industry for a long time. It used to be apprentices. When you had apprentices in the truck, it was perfectly fine to throw a tool at them and to yell and scream at them. And that was just part of the learning curve where now that's an HR violation and, it's a no-no. But it's the whole evolution of our trades. It is becoming a more professional environment. You're seeing this with a lot of private equity. The private equity groups are going, hey, this is like a legit business. Like it's not the butt crack plumber that it used to be. It's, big businesses that are running hard and making money. And it's amazing to see just over the last 15 or 20 years, the big changes that have happened in the industry.
The respect that it now demands and rightfully deserves is huge. My background is the private club world, working in some of the finest club resorts, private club, golf club resorts in the world, and helping with consulting amongst them on membership sales, marketing, branding. I can tell you that's what brought me into the discussion with my husband. Is he was working the truck in the truck, as they call them, and I had just signed up my fifth couple to join one of the finest country clubs in the United States. And I'm the one running their background checks. I'm the one doing their interview process. Guess what they all had in common? They all recently had sold their air conditioning business. And I'm like, you know what? I'm missing the mark here. Something's not right. We can do this. And that's really what drove us to pair and partner, as you were asking, because there's nothing we can't handle together. We've been together since high school. He was the guy behind me in math class, and it's been nonstop since. But ultimately, by seeing these amazing couples that came in to join a beautiful country club, buy multi-million-dollar homes, I'm going, they did something right. They're phenomenal people, grounded, worked their butts off, and I know we can do it too. And so hopefully we'll get there, but I love their stories, and I hope to emulate what they've done.
So how's that shift been? Because going from the, it's a different day to day, right? When you're the owner operator, the chuck in the truck, you're getting up and you're in tech mode all day. How has that shift been? Because now you're coming in with this different background where you're talking about customer experience. I'm sure if it's not on your radar, I'm sure memberships is a big part of what you guys are either focusing on or going to be focusing on. How is that conversation gone? Because that's a big shift for your husband. It is,
especially, growing up in such a set mindset of how his grandfather did it, how his father did it. And then when this blonde walks into the office and says, whoa, hold on. What do you mean you didn't invoice them? What do you mean you didn't send a thank you note? So it's, as I mentioned before, it's a good marriage. It's a perfect pairing as far as our business goes. And he gets to do what he does, and I get to, I don't want to say clean up behind him. That's certainly not what I mean to say. But I get to fill in the gaps. I get to fill in the gaps where he gets to be focused on how to help. How can I help? How can I make this right? How can I get my customer cooling? How can I get them comfortable? I get to make sure that's all communicated and he doesn't have to worry about it. And in turn, the beautiful thing of working with ServiceTitan is setting up your policies and procedures right in those templates, right in those invoices, to where our technicians are now learning, because they haven't had to reinvent the wheel, they're learning how we talk, how we want them to talk, how we want them to explain something. partially because something might already be written in there for them, or we've written out templates for them. But ultimately, it's a lot of working together on how we work with our customers, how we communicate, how we care. And quite frankly, I get the advantage because I get to tell my husband all the time and our team, dumb it down for me. I don't know what all that meant. Dumb it down. So now when they've dumbed it down for me, I get to express that a little bit more professionally to the customer.
Yeah.
So
Well, and that's good because a lot of times technicians tend to do that with homeowners. They tend to make it this really complicated, like how much, how fast, how cold. Like that's all I.
yeah, going, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, that sounds super fancy. Is it going to get my house cold? Because it's Arizona, it's June, and it's 140 outside. So how do we fix that problem?
That's right. Even more so out here. So, a lot of air conditioning companies do plumbing and electric. We don't do plumbing or electric, but we do refrigeration. And one thing about Scottsdale is Scottsdale loves their golf and Scottsdale loves their wine.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been very fortunate to really get our foot in the door of so many extraordinary customers because we handle wine refrigeration and the proper use for doing that and the proper tools and equipment and knowledge. Luckily, trips to Italy are very resourceful for giving us education on how to store wine properly. But
That's right. Did you hear that, IRS? That is a business expense.
100%. No, so it's been great to be able to offer both that, maybe not so much plumbing, electric, but keeping them cool, keeping them and their wine cool is kind of our little motto. Luckily, being from that private club world, that is our target market. That was one of our biggest hurdles of working with some of our coaches was we are trying to be different. We are not, I'm going to throw some names out there. You can edit them out if you're not supposed to use them, but your big names, right? Your Parker and Sons, your Gettles, your George Brazils of the world, where they will span, the Phoenix Valley's massive. You can drive for hours and still be in the Phoenix metropolitan area. Right. So we decided very early on we're going to focus on a specific target market. I actually got laughed at quite a bit for sharing that, but we went after the private club world and, the multi-million-dollar homes, the ones that have wine rooms, wine refrigeration. A lot of them have walk-ins in their homes as well. So being able to focus and be super intentional about where we're marketing and who we're marketing to, being able to speak the same language as the individuals who do own these high-end homes has been a really great move for us. So we're very happy with the direction we're going. Instead of sending our guys to 5 different houses to work on 5 different units, we're sending them to one house to work on 10. So trying to be as efficient as we can with our small team, because we are still small, still looking to grow, but it's hard to hire the right individuals to join our team and trust everyone and help with the technical side. It's one of our biggest hurdles right now is finding the right individual.
That's a big challenge in the trades right now is finding technicians and, building your own, growing your own. That's always the best way to do it, but it's also the slowest way of doing it. I want to say this too. Whoever told you, I don't ever talk bad about anybody on the podcast. So, but I do want to say this. Whoever told you that you were wrong by figuring out who your avatar is and only targeting them was completely incorrect. The problem most business owners make, especially when they're getting started, and I did the same thing. I was like, I'm all things to all people. Anybody who's got $1, they're my customer. And that's such a bad way to do it. So I would 1,000% disagree with whoever told you that and say, great job, because you know exactly who your target market. It's a different conversation you're having with your customer versus somebody in, let's say, the Paradise Valley, not Paradise Valley, but one of the areas where there's the smaller retirement homes, like the mobile home retirement community. There we go. That's what I was trying. I lived in Chandler for a little while, so I'm trying to get my bearings straight. But it's a different conversation. It's a different marketing message that you're giving to the two different people. So good for you guys.
I appreciate that coming from you and knowing how long you've been in the industry, how successful you've been in the industry. You know, I sit here and question myself all day, every day, and I appreciate your words on that.
Yeah, no, good for you guys. So what's the next 36 months look like for you guys?
Hopefully, growth. We've doubled our revenue already in 2025 than we did in 24. I'd love to again double that up in
You've
26.
already doubled it and it's June?
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, your
That's
marketing
really
plan doesn't
exciting.
work.
I hate to say it, but I really haven't even focused on marketing. We're super lucky, but I will 100% give that to our team. They are the most respected, well mannered, kindest individuals, and our biggest thing is integrity. That's our number one thing. So many times companies get behind private gates, and that's the first thing they do is double prices. And that's the first thing we didn't want to do. We specifically chose our location to be within a 10-minute radius of all of those private clubs and those avatars that we're talking about,
Yeah.
um, so that we don't have to sit there and charge exorbitant amounts. We want to be honest. We want to be truthful. Make sure we're taking care of them, even if it's not making as much money as the next guy. At least our biggest marketing effort is word of mouth, and that's how I'd like it to stay.
Well, and it's definitely the lowest cost. But again, just like just like homemade technicians, it typically takes longer, but it doesn't sound like that's the case with you guys. Plus you serve such a niche market that they're talking to 10 other people, and the truth is your customer cares more about the trust of you being in their home, I mean, if a refrigeration system goes down, especially a walk-in cooler in somebody's house in June, July, August, it's a lot of money worth of goods that could be just thrown in the trash can. So
Trust me, they care more about their wine than they do about whatever's in their walk-in.
that's true.
But yeah, I like to think of it as my best marketing is that foursome that's out on a tee box. You know, that one guy who says, my air went out last night, but it's working already this morning. You know, Forbes came out, and that's my marketing right there. Talk on the tee box.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's great. So let me ask you a little bit of rapid fire here.
Yep.
So give me, what is one book that you like lean on that has made a big difference to you in your business?
I have my E-Myth behind me. That taught me a lot, and I've listened to it every year. So 3 years now, 3 times now. And every time I listen to it, I go, oh, that's what he was talking about. Oh, I do that now. Oh, I didn't even understand what he was talking about the first time. So that's been an evolution of learning, even though it's the same book, right?
Yep.
Because I'm learning. So I'm now speaking the language a little bit more. Certainly not fluent, but getting there. The other one is right behind me, Raving Fans. It sounds silly. You can read it in 3 hours if you haven't
Love
read
that
it.
book.
And so our guys, it becomes a mandatory read because if we're going to sit there and automatically, and we haven't even fired this out yet, our Google reviews are very small only because we haven't pushed it. I'm so nervous to push the automatic Google review because I like to have a little more hands-on control of it, but I'm going to have to release it. So our guys have all had to read, Raving Fans, and it's because of those Google reviews. I want that customer to walk away going, "Oh my gosh, what an amazing technician." No one's ever asked me if I need to dust my ceiling fan. No one said, "Hey, I have a ladder out. Can you change this? Can I change that light bulb for you?" No one's ever said, "Hey, your smoke detector was beeping in the guest wing. Would you like me to change out those batteries?" It's the smallest thing that we use to build our relationships. And so those two books have been instrumental for myself, for our team, and something we just want to keep building on.
So I want to share this with you. Both of those books are favorites. Raving Fans is one. When I first read that book, I had the CSRs read it.
Yeah.
And for years that was part of what they did. And then with E-Myth, I still read that book every year. It took me 6 times of reading it before I actually got through it. because I kept getting jammed up on Sarah and her pies. I'm like, what does pies got to do? And somebody who was a mentor to me said, just finish the book. You know what I mean? Like, just follow the process, read the book. And I finally did. And I went, okay. And then same thing every year. That's two great books. Good share.
My next read, what is it?
Oh gosh. Well, when your business partner is your spouse, that's one you got to read if you haven't read it already. Rocket Fuel is a great book. That's a really great book. There's one. Hang on, I'm going to break into my Audible real quick. Since you put me on the spot here.
One-sided here, Justin.
No, I love it. I mean, a lot of the old school books, like I like the books from, the Stephen Coveys, anything Dale Carnegie I like, any of that stuff. But The Power of Habit, I just started reading again. Power of Habits is a big one, especially from a leadership perspective of remembering why people do what they do.
Heart-led leader.
It's what?
Heart-led leader.
Oh yeah.
The one. So.
The Coaching Habit is another one. We'll just go through books. I'm down with it. But The Coaching Habit actually is so for anybody in a newer leadership role, that's a really good book of, kind of that how do you lead like a coach? Anyways, good book too.
Yeah.
So.
Super valid. And I will say that the one thing I have noticed in the industry is not a lot of the owners, managers, technicians have gone through I shouldn't say any, a lot of them have not gone through a formal form of coaching that people in the corporate world kind of have to go through, right? HR mandates it.
Yeah.
And as much as I dreaded going through those classes or reading those books, it really does help. And getting my husband involved in podcasts and certain books, it's been instrumental to his success, our success, both in the office and at home. So I can't preach that enough. If you're at all not wanting to read those self-help books, it's self-help, not just you, it's all of us.
Automobile University, one of the best educations you'll ever get, and for the cost of an Audible membership, which is, I don't know how much it is, $6-7 a month, maybe 12. I don't know now that I say that. I don't know how much it costs, but I think it's pretty inexpensive.
Wife, that's the finance background, right?
Oh, she would know. Yeah. She would 100% know. Yeah. She would know for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. What is something in a leadership role that you wish you would have learned earlier?
I'm still learning it. And that is just simply not trying to take it all on. That's something I really need to work on myself. And I would say I'm going to beg your wife to come out and smack me upside the head and teach me some accounting tools. But ultimately, I need to stay in my lane, as you just said, and know what I'm good at. And I do, but I also try to do things on the accounting side because I don't have an accountant at this point in time, meaning someone in the shop, in the office for that.
Yeah.
I think that might be one of my next hires. I know I'm trying very hard to make sure the technicians side of things has everything they need, all of their tools, because if I don't have them, then we don't have this. But ultimately, I need to relinquish any form of monthly reconciliation and daily accounting tasks.
Very good. Well, great. Nicole, I know that it is the end of June in the Phoenix area, and I know you guys are crazy busy and you got a business to grow. So if somebody has any questions for you, how would they get in touch with you?
I'd love them to call. Call comes to 480-266-5211 or an email, Forbes@ForbesRefrigeration.com. No D in refrigeration.
Very cool. And I'll put all that stuff in the show notes. So anybody listening, if you want to get in touch with Nicole and find out more about her business, it will be there in the show notes. But Nicole, thank you so much. It was great to get to meet you. And we will actually see you, I'm sure, at Pantheon this coming year.
I'll be there. I will in September.
Yes. Yep. All right.
That's
Thank you.
Justin, thank you so much. I appreciate your time and your support with everything. It means a lot.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. Information is useless if not applied. So take what you've learned and go and implement it. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on social media at Freedom Blueprint for Home Services and hit the website at www.freedomblueprintpodcast.com. See you next time.